Hey there, I got something for you. This watch was your great-grandfather's watch during the First World War. He bought it in an old general store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Made by the first company to make wristwatches. Now, up until then, people just carried pocket watches. It was bought by a private Brian Coolidge when he set sail to Paris during the First World War. He wore this watch every day he was in that war. And when his duty was done, he went home to your great-grandmother, took the watch off, put it in an old coffee can, and the coffee can stayed until your grandfather, Dan Coolidge, was called on to war to fight the Germans once again. This time they called it World War II. Your great-grandfather gave this watch to your granddad for good luck, but your grandfather's luck wasn't as good as his old man's. Dan was a Marine, and Dan was killed in the Battle of Wake Island. Your grandfather was facing death. He knew it. None of those boys had any illusions of survival. So 3 days before the Japanese took over the island, your grandfather met a man whom he never met in his life, named Wanaki, a gunner, to deliver to your father, whom he never met in his life, in the flesh, the watch. This watch. Your father wore this watch when he was shot down over Hanoi. He was captured. He knew that if the gooks found the watch, they'd try to confiscate it, take it away. Now, as far as he was concerned, this watch was your birthright. He'd be damned if you let some slope put the yellow, greasy hands on your birthright. So he hid it where no one would look, in his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch. Up his ass. But then he died. He died of dysentery, and I got the watch. Shit. And I got the watch. And I got the watch. In 2 years, I wore this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass. And 7 years later, I was set free. And then I made it my own to deliver the watch to you, little man. Hey there. I got something for you. This was your great-grandfather's watch during the First World War. He bought it in a general store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Made by the first company to make wristwatches. Up until then, people just carried pocket watches. It was bought by a private Brian Coolidge on the day he set sail for Paris. Your father wore this watch, your great-grandfather wore this watch, and he wore it every day he was in that war. And when he'd done his duty, he went home to your great-grandmother, took the watch off, put it in the coffee can, and in that can it stayed until your grandfather, Dan Coolidge, was called to war to fight the Germans once again. This time it was called World War II. Your great-grandfather gave this watch to your grandfather for good luck. But unfortunately, his luck wasn't as good as his old man's. Dan was a Marine and he was killed, along with all the other Marines in the Battle of Wake Island. Your grandfather was facing death. He knew it. None of those boys had any illusions of survival, but 3 days before the Japanese took the island, he met a gunner by the name of Wanaki, a man he never met in his life, and asked him to deliver his watch to his unborn son, whom he never met in the flesh. 3 days later, your grandfather was killed, but Wanaki kept his word. delivered his watch to his son. This watch. This watch was on your father's wrist when he was shot down over Hanoi. He was captured, and he knew that if the gooks found the watch, they would confiscate it, take it away. So he hid it where they couldn't find it, in his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch up his ass. Then he died of dysentery and gave the watch to me, and I wore this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass for 2 years. Eventually I was sent home after 7 years of being interred. And I'm here today, little man, to give the watch to you.